doing a coxswain's hammock install in this Resolute 4 here. And you can show them, this is the coxswain's hammock. According to one former national team coxswain who happened to be in this at Masters Nationals, he said this was the most comfortable boat he's ever been in his life, and he's my age. So that was a pretty good set of kudos from a coxswain who's been in everything for a long, long time. Hold on. Okay. All right, you can see these parts here. This is our coxswain's hammock kit. Besides the hammock we showed you earlier, all it is a couple of through bolts that are mounted to the sides of the hull here, or through the hull. And these are our G10, what we call our G10 compression tubes that we insert and glue in, which are through hull fittings. And that's all the parts that's needed for this thing, besides the tools to do it with. So it's pretty simple install. We will be drilling through the side of the boat, installing these G10 compression tubes and gluing them in, letting the glue set, and then we can mount the thing together. So it's very simple. Make sure I go through the carbon of the shoebox, not back here where it ends. You want to go through right in here, all right, where the shoebox, so you get extra layers of carbon in there, okay? So I'm going to mark this right there, basically under this thing. This would be one of the marks right there. And I'm using a silver paint pen so I can identify the marks, and I'll go the other side and hit one at the same spot right there. Here he is, and I keep it down below a little bit so the washer I put on here won't interfere with this, and I will double check that before I drill it to make sure the washer will clear. Okay, this washer, because of the size of the washer that we use for distributing load, I got to make sure that it clears that spot where I put my hole. And I might not want to put it there. Maybe I'll put it right there. So I just want to make sure I got room in here to do this. So I'm going to change my location a little bit to make sure I can get what I want. Right there. And that way it's not binding and sticking down too far. I get a little bit more height right there. Okay? Okay. When we marked the holes here earlier, we used that paint pen to show where I wanted to do it. Now I've put tape over both the inner and outer skins, so when I actually go through and drill the hole in here, it won't splinter the carbon on the opposite side. So this is to keep things keep things in place, really, as I make that. Now I'm going to remark the holes on the outside. I can either drill them from inside or outside. I prefer to drill outside in, and that way we'll begin starting the process of drilling out that hole for the G10. My 1/4-inch bit is gone. Where's my 1/4-inch bit? The best drill bits for drilling through carbon are diamond coated. These are not, so I go very slowly to make sure that I don't skip around. Just so you know, Coach is standing by, sweating bullets as I do this. I might have to change batteries. Okay, just went through the carbon. You saw that stuff come out. That's the core coming out now. Okay, we just drilled through the boat. This is above the water line, by the way, just so everyone knows. What they call a step bit. I'll give you another example of another one here. This is another type of step bit. You can see the little steps along these things. This maxes out at a 1/2-inch diameter, which is the size hole that I will need for the G10 tubes, and these are the same size. This shorter one here will allow me for the tip to go into the hole I just drilled and still round out the rest of it to allow the G10 tube. Then I'll have to go in and take the core out of the inside, and I don't want to damage the inside. Just cleaning out the debris that's left from drilling. And this honeycomb core that's in here, I want to get it out so that I can get access to the far inner wall of the carbon, and that way I have some gluing surface for the epoxy. Okay, so I'm just cleaning all this out. I'll blow this out or get all the dust out as best as possible.
You know, towards us, some of the other schools you were looking at.
And these are the compression tubes we're going to use. I just cut this one to 2 centimeters to take into account the thickness of the boat. I'm going to cut this other one. So I just put it in the vise and measure it and saw it with a hacksaw. Just like that. Find my 2 centimeters, which is, well, I don't have my pencil, but 2 centimeters right there. Okay. In the case of the boat, where this is going is about 1.5 centimeters thick. So I'm trying to overdo it a little bit, and I will have to shave this down once I get through. I may have to sand the edges of this down a little bit just to make sure it will slip in there, but that's the next step, is to slide in the G10 with the dry fit and get it to where you want it to get in all the way. And I got to do a little bit more trim in there to get that to go in the hole. Pulling it out with pliers, and it only comes out in little tiny pieces. I mean, it just does not.
When I use it, when it's
rub it all around. Alright, so I'm grabbing hold of this G10 that's on the outside and I'm spinning it to make sure it gets a good coating of epoxy. Okay, when the epoxy dries inside the boat here, what I'll do is I'll undo these bolts that are holding this thing tight inside there, and I'll use the coxswain hammock bolt system, and we will put it through, put that on the outside, tighten it down in this coxswain hammock here with the buckle. You see it's nice and flat like that. This will go through here like this. This will come up underneath that steering cable. We'll push it through and we'll bolt it from the outside, and there you go. So when you want to tighten your hammock down, you pull the straps on both sides and get it fitted the way you want.
What about the extra of the tube hanging out?
Oh yeah, we do have to take off that excess G10 tubing on this side and that side. The best way to do that is to Dremel it down, to just take a Dremel with a little grinding wheel and just grind this down flush. Leave the taping on so you don't mess up the exterior of the boat. If you don't have a Dremel, you can use a fine file or strong sandpaper, like 80 grit sandpaper. But sandpaper, you would put it on like a yardstick or a tongue depressor and sand it with that. But you don't want to be touching the boat or going through the tape. Okay, once you're done with that, you bolt the thing together, and your cox hammock is ready to go to make your coxswains happy.